Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful session of Business Nuggets brought to you by Ascent Nominees, powered by Law Ascent. I'm your host, as regular, Munachi Ogwayo. And today we'll be talking about two very distinctive topics in relating to your business, and that's change of the business name as well as the change of the objects of business. Now, like I always say, I always like to start the session with saying that if you're a first-time viewer, if this is your first time joining us in this session, we are very, very delighted to have you. We hope that you have a fantastic session with us. And if you're an avid subscriber of our channel, once again, we welcome you on board and we hope that you continue to have a smooth sailing with us. Now, without further ado, we would like to jump right into the topic at hand. Now, like I said earlier, today's topic is in relation to change of objects as well as change of business names. And I'll start with the change of business names. Now, when we talk about change of business names, we are basically referring to the fact that business owners as well as people who run companies can actually decide to change the name of their business or of their companies. Yeah, you heard that right. You can actually decide to change the name of your business or your company. Now, this also goes in an alternative way. The alternative way being that you as a business owner can also be mandated to change your business name. Yes, you can be mandated to change your business name. And why do I say so? I say so because there is a governing body in charge of registration of business names as well as registration of companies and its allied matters. And that body is the Corporate Affairs Commission. Now, if you're an avid subscriber of our channel and you're a big fan of our nuggets, you would be familiar with two distinctive names, which is the CAC and the CAMA. The CAC being the Corporate Affairs Commission and the CAMA being the Corporate and Allied Matters Act. Now, for reference purposes, please take note that the Corporate and Allied Matters Act we're referring to is the one of year 2020. And now, why do we always refer to the Corporate and Allied Matters Act 2020? We always do that because this is the, in this case now, the supreme law in relation to corporate activities in Nigeria. Now, we have the governing constitution, and then we have the primary legislation relating to activities of the company, which is the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. And the body that regulates everything company related in Nigeria is the Corporate Affairs Commission. And now, let's do a 360 dive back to the Corporate Affairs Commission's first mention on today's show. Now, the Corporate Affairs Commission, being the legislative body in charge of making sure that every business runs according to the guidelines and laws that have already been mandated by its humble commission, can actually give a directive to companies or business owners where they see that they are actually making use of a name that is conflicting with an already registered or an earlier registered business name. Now, but that's not our focus today. Our focus today is in relation to business names and companies. So companies that intend to change their business names voluntarily, so which is by their own self. Now, if you feel like the business name in which you're using does not attract as much customers as you want, or is just not unique enough, or you feel does not represent the kind of business you run, don't be alarmed. You can always change your business name. It's the same way you can always walk into a shop and change your phone if your phone is faulty or you feel like there's a new version in town and you want to get the latest version. Now, if you're running a business or you're running a company where you have a structure and foundational base, then there would be a need for you to consult the members of your company to ensure that you're not just waking up and changing the name of your business on your own accord. So if you take note primarily of Section 30 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, you would see the laid down rules and guidelines for every company when they intend to change their business name. So it involves making the necessary applications, which can be done by an accredited CAC registered agent. They can help you make the necessary filings on the CAC portal, and with the necessary off-boot registrations that needs to be done between members of the company, that can be done, and necessary details imputed in the CAC website, and the application will be made to change your business name. And then once that has been done, you make the necessary publications and the necessary filings and notice to the Corporate Affairs Commission. So it's as easy as that. You don't need to stress yourself. It's as easy as riding a bike. For as many of you that can ride a bike, it's as easy as that. So you don't need to have any worries in relation to changing your business name, or feeling that, oh, it might be an extra worry or whatnot. No, it's as simple as ABC. So all you just need to do is just consult an accredited agent, and they can help you with the necessary filings. And then the next topic on our agenda is the change of object. Now, this is really an interesting part of the show. And why I say it's an interesting part of the show is because changing of the objects of a company basically relates to changing of the company's activities. So when I talk about change of objects, I don't necessarily mean a whole 360 change. It could be that you're just incorporating. When I say incorporating, you're just adding new things that you want your company to go into. You're just adding it to the business. So for example, if you run a business where all you do is in relation to production of, let's say, raw materials in relation to precious stones. Now, you want to expand. You want to go into production of raw materials in relation to cotton that can be used to make clothes. There would be a need for you to include this distinctive change in the objects of your company, as stated in the memorandum and articles of the association. Now, the reason for that being is that when you make your application to CAC at an initial instance for registering your company, again, when you make an application to CAC at the initial instance for registering your company, you need to actually state the objects of the business you intend to start. And also, you need to state the object of the company you intend to start. So what I mean by that is CAC must have a record of everything you intend to do in relation to the type of business you're running. Now, if you decide to add additional objects to that, there is a need for the status of your company in terms of objects to be updated. And when I mean updated in CAC's records. And like I said earlier, if you're an avid subscriber or an avid viewer of this channel, you would notice, or you would have taken note of the fact that there is always a regular mention of CAC and CAMA 2020. And that's because as a business owner in Nigeria, there's almost nothing you can do without involving at least the Corporate Affairs Commission. Even when you want to file your annual returns, which is a regular guaranteed instruction for every company doing business in Nigeria, and which was a point of discussion last week. We hope you also listened to our last week's show. If you didn't, you can also check that out. When filing your annual returns, this has to be done to CAC. So coming back to today's discussion, there is a need for CAC to be aware that, oh, you've expanded the objects of your business. Oh, you're not intending on doing this anymore. You're intending on rotating and changing it. And that is why there has to be a need for filing an application for change of objects to CAC. And now, this is a very important part of the show. For change of objects, whenever such application is being intended on or is intended on being made by members of the company, there is supposed to be a resolution. So we have something called a resolution. A resolution is the members of the board of the meetings convening and coming to an agreement that they want to actually change the objects of their company. Now, when this resolution has been taken by the members in the meeting, there is a need for you to wait for, or for the company to wait for 28 days before making that application to CAC. I repeat, there is a need for the company to wait for 28 days before making the application to CAC. And the reason for this is to allow everybody, both people that were participants of that meeting as well as the general members of the company, for them to be aware of the fact that there is an intended change. And also for people who have grievances in this regard to raise their grievances up. So that the company can put all this into consideration. And the reason being that it would be lackluster for people to make these applications and CAC grant the applications, and then we now have a situation whereby people are coming back to complain that, oh, it wasn't their intention, they were not carried along and whatnot. And so that's why there's a mandated stipulation. And this can be found in Section 51 of the Companies and Other Matters Act. You don't need to concern yourself as so much with that. But it's stipulated there, there needs to be 28 days gap before a final application can be made to the Affairs Commission, which is the regulatory body in relation to company registration and allied matters. Now, when this is being done, CAC will then go on to approve it, and the change will be effected in the memorandum and articles of association of the company. Now, we also have other forms of alterations. We have alterations of share capital, we have alterations of memorandum and articles of association, and whatnot. But, like I said, today's topic, we focused on the change of business name, or the company name, and the change of objects. Now, we have had a long 4-week discourse relating to business nuggets and how they relate to post-incorporation matters. Next week, we'll be diving into a whole lot more juicy topics in relation to how startups can grow the business of their choice and how they can make it work. But for today's session, we are going to end with the discourse that we just had now. We hope that you had a fantastic session with us. We hope that you had a wonderful flight with us. And I always plug in before leaving. You can always check other Law Ascent stations. You can check our Ascent Realty, you can check Ascent Litigation out, or Ascent Debt Recovery, or Ascent Consult. There's always a platform depending on what area you prefer in relation to law and its disputes, and there will be a lot for you to learn in relation to that. So you can check us out here on Facebook, you can check us out on YouTube, or as well on Instagram. I hope to see you next week, same time, on the same platform. I still remain your host, Munachi Ogwayo. Till we meet next week, this is me signing out.